Despite generally positive reception for the 2022 Matt Reeves-directed film, The Batman Part 2 faces potential cancellation due to several contributing factors. Originally set to begin production in 2025 for a 2026 release, the project has been delayed, now targeting a 2027 premiere. These delays and other underlying issues are putting the film at risk. It had appeared Matt Reeves had still intended to start production for The Batman Part 2 in 2025, though rumours suggest that Matt Reeves will exit the project if the film doesn't go into production this year. This is fair considering the long wait we have had for the sequel to go into production, and not to mention that The Batman was originally set for a 2021 release but was pushed back due to the incident from 2020. There has been a recent announcement that the Batman star Robert Pattinson is set to take on the villain role in Denis Villeneuve's Dune Messiah, which will start production this summer and likely clash with the production of The Batman Part 2. As both projects are made by Warner Brothers, I imagine they would accommodate this for the actor, but if Reeves is insistent on shooting this year and production is delayed, he may leave the project completely. And if Reeves does exit the film, would Robert Pattinson also be inclined to leave, and would that mean the film is scrapped completely? The Batman IP is owned by Warner Brothers, and the DC Studios banner is currently being run by director James Gunn, known for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the director of the upcoming Superman film. Gunn has stated in the past that he was happy to do DC Elseworlds movies, films which follow DC characters outside of the canon of the DC universe that is being crafted to rival the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And because of this, The Batman with Robert Pattinson had fallen into the Elseworlds category, with James Gunn intending to introduce a different version of the Batman in his DCU. Back when James Gunn announced the lineup for the DCU as a chapter called Gods and Monsters, he revealed a Batman movie titled The Brave and the Bold was in development and would follow Batman and the Bat family, including Damian Wayne, the character's son. And at the time it was widely accepted that this would be a new actor playing Batman and it would not be in the same continuity as Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's version of the character. With The Batman Part 2 seemingly being delayed again and again, and the idea that Gunn may not want two different actors playing Batman at the same time, there had been speculation that Gunn wanted Robert Pattinson to appear in The Brave and the Bold and to be the sole Batman for the DCU. Nothing is concrete, but there are rumours that suggested Robert Pattinson was up for this, but Matt Reeves was against the idea, wanting his version of Batman to have its own continuity. James Gunn has said in the past that nothing will go into production until they have the script right, and that is what has been suggested by Gunn as the reason for the delay to The Batman Part 2. Reeves has continued to state the film would shoot in 2025 despite Gunn's comments. The two seem to be butting heads over this, but this is only speculation and neither have directly commented on the disagreement between the two of them. James Gunn ultimately has full creative control over film productions that use any DC property and clearly wants to craft a vision of a shared continuity to rival the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because of this, despite the idea of doing Elseworlds movies, Gunn may not actually be keen on pursuing anything like that again for the foreseeable future. The Batman was greenlit by Warner Brothers before James Gunn took over the role of head of DC Studios. The same with Joker Folie à Deux, a film which lost the studio a massive amount of money and was not well liked critically. Gunn reportedly gave notes to Todd Phillips in regards to the Joker sequel, but Phillips reportedly ignored all correspondence and wanted to make the movie how he wanted to make it. Because of the flop of Joker Folie à Deux, Gunn may be reconsidering moving forward with The Batman Part 2. The Penguin, the HBO series, follows Colin Farrell's character from the first Batman movie and was very well received by fans and critics alike. The show shares the same continuity as the 2022 Batman movie, and the popularity of the show shows there is still an appetite to play in the Batman world that Reeves has crafted so far. I do believe that audiences could accept two versions of Batman in different continuities at the same time, but I do understand the apprehension from James Gunn. Warner Bros. And DC may have seen The Batman as a bit of a failure financially because it is such a large IP and yet the film only grossed $800 million globally. Whilst I do think it's ridiculous that the studio would look at this film as a flop, I do believe the studio looks to compare it to The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, which made over $1 billion each a decade previously. Studios do spend a lot of money on creating and marketing the films, and their profit on a gross of $800 million will be less than you may expect. And Gunn could use this comparison as a way to kill The Batman Part 2. It is worth pointing out, though, that if Reeves does leave the project, which I do believe he will if the film doesn't go into production this year, it doesn't necessarily mean the movie will be scrapped. A new director could be hired and maybe the film would work out. It would be a shame to lose what Matt Reeves brought to the project in the first film. Having not directed a film since The Batman, which was released in 2022 and did shoot in 2021, Reeves had been waiting almost half a decade to begin his next movie. If he has to wait much longer, it would make sense for him to move on to something else. Maybe he could be convinced to delay the project further and still direct, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next few months. I do reckon the performance of James Gunn's upcoming Superman movie will have a great impact on if The Batman Part 2 goes ahead or not. If it flops, then I think DC may go all in on Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, but if it is a major success, I think Gunn will use that fact as having a single DC continuity of being the way forward and potentially scrap the movie or combine Pattinson's version of the character into the DCU. If that were to happen, then perhaps The Batman Part 2 will be scrapped completely, and The Brave and the Bold movie will be the sequel to Matt Reeves' first Batman movie. As I've said, it'll be a real shame if Matt Reeves doesn't return to direct the film and if the film is scrapped completely, and I do not want that to happen. I'm very excited to see what we could get in The Batman Part 2, and it's a world I'm very interested in seeing on the big screen once again. Do you think The Batman Part 2 is at risk of being cancelled? Let me know your thoughts. Please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please make sure to click the bell icon to receive notifications for all of my future videos. That's it for now. Thanks for tuning in.